Good afternoon. Welcome to my YouTube channel called Secret Space Program Interviews. Um, Today I have with me a new, well, she just got her memories back about 4 months ago, I believe. And they're quite extensive memories. Her name is Dr. Katherine Milano, and she's also a PTSD therapist. She works with people with PTSD and uses a little bit of psychedelics, I believe, in the therapies.
Mhm.
And with that, I'm going to let her take it away. I just First question I wanted to ask was, can you tell me about how those memories came back when you met Tony or talked to Tony or whatever?
Yeah, of course. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being on here, and I'm a big fan of your work. So
Oh, thank you.
it means a lot to me. Thank you. Sure, I'd love to tell you how they came back. It was a really odd sequence of events. And having been a trauma therapist and specializing specifically in complex and early trauma, the way that I'm getting my memories back or that they started was in exactly the same way that my trauma patients get their dissociated repressed memories back. So um, they're real, you know. But I do believe that it was in part my higher self leading me down the garden path to find Tony. And I really, before I met him, or before I even knew anything about the secret space program, which was, again, you're correct, about 4 months ago, is when I even learned that it was a thing. I had decided to kind of shift and pivot in my career and maybe work with secret space program experiencers. So I booked a consultation with him, and about 2 days before, I just started getting images. I had been sure that I wasn't part of it, and that this, and that the fact that I hadn't been part of it would be an advantage for me in working with people who were SSP experiencers. And then, to my surprise, about 2 days before, I just started getting images, like flashes of different scenes, and they were me, and they were with people who were wearing very odd uniforms, and they were also, some of the memories were in really awful situations that I've never experienced. So it just started out as visual images, and it would be like a flash of an image, and then it would go away, but that continued to happen. And then the same exact image would come back. And I learned how to anchor the image kind of in a remote viewing sort of way and slowly kind of pull more out of the imagery. And then once the floodgates opened, they didn't close. So,
Wow.
yeah. I also did quantum healing hypnosis.
Huh?
I think that's QHHT. I did
HHT.
one of those sessions to get some more memories back. And that's how, within the span of a very short period of time, I got extensive memories. So I did two 20 and backs that I know of so far.
So
Yeah.
believable.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, QHHT. I was wondering, since Tony, of course, I'm talking about Tony Rodriguez for the viewer in case anyone doesn't know. Um, um, the M You could always try an MRI, but they told the doc, I'd like to get some more memories back. And I'm
I really need them to slow down a little bit.
I know, I'm just saying that that is so crazy how that happened to him. And
Mhm.
like, I wonder if I got one, what would happen? I don't think I was part of it, but um I might remember other things, other parts of my life anyway.
Yeah, I mean, QHHT, from my understanding, is great for past life regression, a number of different things.
I'm letting my dog out.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. So sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, you never know. Like I said, I didn't know. So maybe you were in it. You seem to be drawn to the experience.
Yeah, I'm drawn to it. But and I've also been always horrified by the idea of torture. Um, One time in fourth grade, my teacher was talking about, she was from Britain. She was talking about Guy Fawkes Day and explained what they did to him and it was bad. and I started crying in the classroom. I was the only one that cried. I had to be escorted to the back to um so yeah, I don't have anything bad that happened to me that I remember in my life so far, but I
Well, that's how I feel. Nothing was as bad in my life as to create the sort of trauma or PTSD or experiences that I had. So I don't know.
I'll try some kind of session someday, maybe just to see what's up, just to see.
Don't force it. Your higher self will let you know when you're ready.
Okay. Okay, so back to you. Thank you for listening to that little aside.
Well,
Um,
sure.
you told me that you have more memories that you didn't get a chance to talk about yet.
Sure.
Just tell me anything.
Sure. Well, I think the most interesting thing that's happened since the interview that I did with Michael Sala and till now is that I actually found the house, the Illuminati house that I was in Newport, Rhode Island. I found the house, and it that even came to pass in a weird way. I guess it was recently sold, and so yeah, it. I don't know if I should say whose house it was. He's dead
That's
now.
cute.
He's dead now, and his he had two sons, and one of them was a convicted pedophile who spent 10 years in prison for pedophilia. That person has also passed away, and that is the person that I saw being initiated in an Illuminati ritual.
My, oh my God.
So it's the house. I recognized it. It was exactly how I remembered it. And it was just very validating to see that. And to also find out that his son, convicted pedophile, was the young man who was initiated in an Illuminati
My.
ceremony. Yeah.
How did you find it? Were you just like on Google Earth or
No, and this is
oh,
why I say that it was a very strange experience. Quantum consciousness is a thing. So I have a friend, I'm from New York originally. I had to leave, but a friend who's an architect in New York, and he saw my Sala video, and he was like, I'm in Newport, Rhode Island right now. I'm working on a house. And I said, he's like, what did the house look like?
oh wow.
And so I described it to him in detail, in extensive detail, and he sent me a picture of the house, and that's how I found it. It was the house. So I do believe that there is a quantum consciousness, and it's all orchestrating for us to get the information that we need for disclosure. So
I think so. Um, I know a girl, you might know her, Amaria Sweet, and she says she did a lot of time travel and she's been led to find these photos online of herself back in like the 1910s, and there was one in the 1800s. Looks a lot like her. I mean, I'm not, but she said anyway, she was kind of led, so that kind of reminded me.
yeah, it's very strange the way that happens, and I feel like as we continue to ascend into a fifth density, in terms of where the Earth is and the rising frequencies, not only are people going to start getting their memories back, but it's going to, more synchronicities are going to happen, and more of these experiences are going to happen where people are going to be led to find the things that they need to demonstrate that this is a reality. So.
Yes, and to let a lot of people know so there's no more like snickering about it, you know?
No, yeah, the snickering is at this point is whatever for me. And I really feel I've had the advantage of talking to a number of SSP experiencers at this point, and I understand why people don't want to come forward with it, because of the snickering, but I don't know, that doesn't really bother me. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, I had a lot more memories of that Newport house, and then being in Amsterdam. Oh, this is something. After the Newport house, I was transported to Amsterdam, and I lived in it's one of those big Amsterdam style houses on a canal. I haven't
Yeah,
found
I've been there.
that. Okay, I've never been to Amsterdam except apparently in a clone body, but I remembered quite a bit about that. It was very much an Epstein situation. But one of the memories that has come up was being in the tunnels. There were tunnels, um, underneath the house, and there was a whole network of tunnels that, for me, they would take me to the red light district. So I also have a memory of being in, like, I can see the front room of the red light district, but I was kept in the back room. And there was, she was a housekeeper, and she used to transport me through the tunnels, and they were very narrow, and they had like lights on strings in them. And I saw a fuse box, but it was very dark, and she would carry a big flashlight. But I think the most interesting part of the red light district was that the light in the window, like I wasn't in the window, I was in the back part, but the light was more of like a pink fuchsia color. And that was to indicate that people could get underage girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
remember
I love
seeing
that.
it.
And I remember a lot of the assault. I remember a lot of the rape. It's just, I'm not sure that people really want to hear me describe that, you know?
No, I mean,
Yeah.
if you ever write, maybe like if you write your memories, which is so powerful when people do that. And also, since interviews sometimes get lost,
Mhm.
um, like Tony has talked about having a lot of his interviews go away. So that's really a bummer. So it's important you guys talking, and interviews are very valuable. And actually this is have you noticed even commercials, everybody has to be doing a podcast and they're on a microphone. Like it's very important. I love interviews, but writing is good too.
I'm about 120 pages deep into the book that I'm writing, and it's, Dark Fleet Geisha. So I don't
Wow.
know. Yeah, so I am writing them down, and it's kind of a painstaking process, but it's helpful. So hopefully I'll have that out soon.
So
But
okay, I'm also you worked for the Dark Fleet or Solar Warden, or where do you think you worked for?
so in the first one, I would say that I was tagged on the way in because I came in as an envoy for the Galactic Federation of Worlds, specifically Ashtar Command. And so they started abducting me right away. And they do that to us because we're coming in with like high frequency from these different planetary systems. And also they're trying to slow down and delay the ascension process. So I think they were just using me to fly ships and to do all of their like handiwork that they're no longer, they being the regressive negative extraterrestrial agenda. So for my early childhood, I guess I was just flying their ships. And one would,
Consciousness kind of?
yeah.
Did you do it with your consciousness, like some people talk about?
Yeah, it's like it's I know that there's for the little gray ships. I don't think I was any good at flying the Draco ships, but for the gray ships, it's like you had your hand on these things in front of you, and what I see are flight paths. So it's like it a matter of consciousness. You kind of like think and feel your way to the destination. It's I don't know. You would think that these extraterrestrials at a certain point would say to themselves, we can't even fly our own ships anymore. Maybe we should turn to the light. I don't know. Um, but back to your question, so they were abducting me for whatever purposes they needed, and then I was used in much like Tony in an Illuminati house. And following that, it was really just like another like a sex trafficking Epstein situation. I do believe those guys did Illuminati rituals. I can remember one of them in the Amsterdam house. But for whatever reason, I was selected to go up into the Dark Fleet. I was in the Sex Monarch program. So yeah, they took me to Berlin and trained me to be a geisha for the Dark Fleet.
God.
And I did after, and I gotta be honest, the memories of Ares Prime, which is the main city on Mars,
Mhm.
where I was a Dark Fleet geisha, there was a lot of brutality there, but there was a lot of fun stuff there. So if anybody wants to hear the fun stuff, I'm happy to talk about that
Yeah,
too.
please talk about anything fun and what the city looked like if you can remember.
Yeah, the city is interesting. So I remember my little corner of the city. I had a little apartment when we first got up there as geishas. So I think after Amsterdam, they took me to a prison in Berlin. I believe it was East Berlin. So this would have been around 1992 after the Berlin Wall fell. And so it had been an emptied prison, and that's where we stayed. I'm not sure how long we stayed there, but that's where we took a number of courses. They were basically just training us on the history of the Fourth Reich and what it means to be a Fourth Reich, and also like yeah, how we would present ourselves and what would be required of us. And they were also testing us in various ways to see what level of the sex monarch program, because there are levels to it, like what level would we would be assigned to. So I got into a pretty good level. Like to be a geisha in this program is it was I think it was a lot better than some of the other levels of the sex monarch program that you could be in.
That's
So
really amazing.
yeah. But Aries Prime, I can tell you what my little corner of it looked like. When we first got up there, there were about 8 of us in a pod, and I was probably about 17, or it's somewhere yeah, I think about 17 when I went up to Mars. And it was just a bunch of young women, 8 of us in a pod. And I've got to be honest, like our outfits were really cool.
Be
But
great to
we
draw those.
slept, yeah, we slept in a dorm room for a while, and then as time went on, like depending on how good you were as a geisha, you would get your own little apartment. So I had this tiny little micro apartment, and it was really cute. It had a bed that the beds are weird. They kind of curve into the wall, and then it had like a little sink and a mirror, and like you could put your clothes over here, and there's a bathroom. Um, but it's Aries Prime. From what I'm remembering, it was very strange. Like I don't see any cars there in any of the memories that I have. I don't know if there are cars somewhere, but I know there's a monorail. And the streets actually they're very narrow, so it's very pedestrian. So the street that I lived on, it kind of looked like uh like a European I would say like Barcelona or Paris. It had these before Paris's streets were pulled apart and made wide so that nobody could revolt anymore. So it was this like very narrow kind of streets, and it was all pedestrian. But if you went off on the main drag, there was like a central hub, and it's like a lot of it's underground, I think, but there's one part that has like big windows covering the city, and those windows can reflect what's actually outside, or they can put like fake sunlight or ambient light. I think they also had like advertisements up there sometimes, or like notifications on the windows. It's a really interesting city, and we used to go to this one bar because our job as geishas we were assigned to a commander of the Dark Fleet. So my commander was named Karl Schlemmer, and I can't say it in German, it's really weird, but Karl Schlemmer. And a lot of our job involved, you know, accompanying social hostessing at various like trade delegation meetings. We had different outfits depending on the type of meeting, and sometimes we'd be involved in the military meetings. But when we were off duty, we were never really off duty, but when we were off duty, our job was literally to go out to bars and social events because, and I said this in the Sala interview, we had implants here and here, and we were basically recording all the time. And all of the recordings would go to the intelligence unit, which I later also worked on. But all of which is to say that I was basically there to party and to social hostess various trade delegations and essentially be a spy. Mhm.
You must have had some wit and charm, in addition to being a lovely woman, to get that geisha position and to be able to be an effective spy.
Well, yeah, they trained us to be that way. But the other thing that I would say that I didn't say in the Sala interview is that we were consistently drugged. Like and we were also encouraged to take they had these little pills, and we used to call them jellies, and they were like little clear capsules. And it was very much encouraged for us to take them. And
Wow.
when I get the memories back, I can actually feel the effect of the drug if I'm in there. And it was kind of like a stimulant, but also like it made you just really loose and malleable. And as you mentioned, I do work with psychedelic medicine. It wasn't as strong as, say, something like MDMA, but it
Hmm.
was kind of like that. And they would encourage that because we'd just be very loose and flirty with all the with all the people on that we were partying with, essentially.
Wow, yeah, they had so many drugs. Um, Everybody that I've read about or heard about, they had so many drugs all the time. Like Michael Ralph, the first one that really he was always on scopolamine, or they put him on it all
Oh
the time.
my God, I'm so glad you brought that up because that's from my second 20 and back. They put me on scopolamine uh, to train me to kill people. And I've had these memories of just, and I've never been dosed with scopolamine, but I know that I was on it because well, and it's pretty violent, the memory of that. But yeah, they use that one a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your second 20 and back um was a different job, basically. You had a different job.
Yeah, the second 20 and back, I don't have the memories from the second half of it, mainly because I think they were not necessarily boring, but the way that you get, and Tony Rodriguez told me about this, the way that the memories come back is if there's an emotional connection to it. So the second 20 and back, the first half, I was an assassin. They trained me to be an assassin, and that's why they drugged me with scopolamine, and they just had me killing people on scopolamine, just to I don't know what
How
the
did you kill people? With like a weapon or
yeah, with a gun. It was so the memory that I have of that, I have to imagine that these people were political prisoners, something like that. But they had them all lined up
oh
on
my
their
gosh.
hands and knees with their hands behind their heads. And I would just go down the row. And this is like I'm not even there. Like I can be in the memory and it's almost like there's a big fog in between me and what's happening. And they would just have me shoot them in the head, each one. I remember their faces as I'm shooting them in the head. So it's I just want to say this. I got a lot of heat in the last interview I did for kind of smiling while I'm talking about this, but it's hard to I guess I would say that it's hard to feel these memories and I really don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that way when I saw that interview.
Okay.
I thought you were awesome and I don't know. We have to have just smile as we learn about all this. And
I
cry,
have to, otherwise I'm gonna be toast. So, but yeah, they just had me going down the line and just shooting them in the head on
but oh my God,
scopolamine.
I
Yeah.
can't even imagine.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever see any big spiders on Mars and the mantis and any other life forms?
Okay, so I saw a giant moth being. I think it was on Mars and it was underground. And there was some, I don't know, this is at a point when I was in the first 20 and back. First 20 and back's great because I can always tell what I was doing by what uniform I'm wearing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I do remember this moth being, and I was wearing a black, so I was pretty high up in the Dark Fleet military structure, I guess, because once you get black, and I had a little gold, I think it's a star right here. Once I know I'm wearing black, I'm doing like a high level job, but this one I was just talking to a moth being. So I know that the mantises and there is a memory of a mantis on Mars. I wasn't in the super soldier part of it. I don't know much about that. I
Yeah,
know that Tony was in that. I've read a couple different accounts of that, and that those were the mant or the yeah the mantis beings. So I wasn't in that part of it. I don't think I saw that much of that,
that's
but
okay. I was just curious.
on series I did. On series I did.
Oh, oh wow.
Yeah, it was weird, but I don't have the full visual of it because it happened in a very dark and disturbing memory. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you don't maybe save it for your book or um
Yeah, I don't want to scare people off of this interview. It's but yeah, I didn't have too much experience or none that I really remember thus far.
Do you remember anything about getting to Ceres, like the train ride or the transport or
I
anything?
Yeah, I don't really remember the transport so much. I just know that I was there. I mean, I think it's not really hard to get there. It's really quick with the ships and the tech. I don't know how much time I actually spent on Ceres, but I know it's just, it's not a big commute. Ceres is kind of like, I don't know if your viewers are watching or if you know this from New York, we have Westchester, which is the suburb of New York City. Ceres is kind of like the Westchester of Aries Prime, New York City. So it's not that far of a commute.
Um, that's funny. I did used to live in New York, so I know Westchester.
Okay.
Woo! One second, my dad just called me. I'm just gonna send him a message that I'll call him in an hour or something. Sorry about that.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's like the suburb of Mars.
Yeah, that's where the Dark Fleet or the Fourth Reich, the wives all lived on Ceres. And then their husbands, who were the Fourth Reich commanders, would come onto Mars. That's why we weren't always attached to our commanders, because they would come onto Mars for different trade delegations, military, I don't know what they call them, but they weren't always there. So it's weird the way that the Reich guys operate. It's kind of like an antiquated, very patriarchal, but still, it's almost like they're kind of in the 1960s, but not really.
Yeah,
It's a weird society and it's very just sexually very open. So,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm it's so great to get these pictures of what it's like, and they all corroborate pretty much, this
They're all very similar. Like, I haven't read too many other people's accounts because as I'm writing this book, I just want it to be my memories. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, stick to that for a while and then maybe later.
Yeah. So what else can I tell you about Aries Prime?
Um,
It's just really fun. It was weird because this one VIP bar that we would go to had it was if you went to that kind of bar on Earth, it would look like a dive bar. Like all the furniture was wooden, but up on Aries Prime, like wooden furniture means like you have status and it's very, it's that it looked kind of like a dive bar. I mean, they had big parties up there too. They had this is fun, we had these little cards, like they weren't really cards, they were kind of like a cell phone, but smaller and clear. And it was they had like a green lights on it, and that would show how much money you had on your card. So I had a best friend up there, and her name was Monica. When we were in the geisha program, and we would always hang out together. She lived a little bit down the road from me. And we had these little cards. We would go shopping in the shops and buy clothes because we had to, look attractive. We'd get our hair done, stuff like that. And yeah, I remember paying for a dress in this one little shop on Aries Prime. And I think the interesting thing about that was we had a weird status up there because we were geishas and everybody knew that. So we got to party, we got into all the VIP, like but we were also like within this example, when I'm buying a dress in the shop, we were also really frowned upon
uh-huh.
by the locals. Like it was kind of like, you know, yeah, we were looked down upon.
Yeah, I can just picture that kind of attitude and yeah, people like
Mhm.
both respect and then disrespect.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
What did the
what it was
dress
like.
look like? Do you remember?
Oh
What
yeah, yeah, yeah.
fashion?
The one that I bought for this one, it was really cute. It was kind of like a slip dress, but metallic, like a bronze color. And it was short. It was really cute, like a
Awesome.
dark bronze color. And that was the dress that I wore when I walked into the bar and I saw my Pleiadian husband, Liran. But yeah, and the clothes there are very cool, or at least they were when I was there. So mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so how about like you just mentioned Liran, your
yeah,
husband, Pleiadian
yeah, yeah.
era too? The
No, we're not from Era. Our star is Maya. I'm not sure what
I
our
guess
planet is called. Yeah. So
oh,
it's close to Taygeta, but it's not Taygeta.
okay. Um, Tell me, did you work on the Ashtar Command ship at some point too, or were you kind of like re spying for them only and you didn't get to work with them?
Okay, that's a really good question. So thank you for asking it. So when I was on Maya, this and I remember Maya or my planet there so well. I got the calling from the Galactic Federation. We all did, and I just knew I had to participate. And I think that our star system does have an envoy program. Like on Maya, there is so the Galactic Federation of Worlds, all the different planets can participate in the envoy programs. I'm pretty sure our star does have an envoy program, but uh, I wanted to have an experience that would challenge my soul a little bit more, so I decided to join the Ashtar Envoy program, which was the military. So I wanted to have a more military experience. The Taigetans have their own military, so they can just go in through their military, but I wanted to have a military experience. So I know that I trained. I have some memories of my training with Ashtar with the Ashar command. And it's really interesting the way that they do it. So the way that we're tortured in the SSP through MK Ultra programming, we do something that's opposite of that, but it's still we train in dissociative meditation techniques.
Oh,
So train ourselves how to, it's basically like, those Tibetan monks who light themselves on fire
oh wow.
and just like hold lotus position until their body expires. We're trained in that way. And it becomes like an almost automatic thing because we know, especially in the Ashtar Envoy program, that we're going to be sucked up into the secret space program. We know that there's a likelihood of that. So they train us with these dissociative meditation techniques so that when it happens, our consciousness just automatically clicks into that. And it's somewhat of a shield from the torture. Mhm.
Wow. So even there, you had to do something pretty brutal like that, like be on fire or um
Oh, no, 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 no. We didn't light
meditating.
ourselves on fire. We just did a lot of like just a, I'm
Good.
sorry to be more clear about that, but we just like it's just extensive meditation and learning how to take your consciousness away from the pain of the physical body. That's
Right.
yeah.
That's so amazing. I've always figured that all that trauma and electrocution is not necessary to get a person to get those superpowers and even maybe the photographic memory or whatever they want. But I knew that through meditation there should be a way to to
I don't to torture people, but it's a very quick way. It's a
yeah,
lot faster. And I think that
yeah,
they feel like they're on a time constraint, so they just torture us into being automatons. Yeah.
yeah. And they like it. They like that the pain that people have. So
They feed off it. Hmm.
wow. So there's a guy named Joseph Powell who he worked for the Ashtar Command and he would do these missions. He talked about being on their ship, they would um ask you where do you want to work? And it was completely different than the SSP because he had a very brutal SSP experience too. And but yeah, that sounded so neat to be able to pick your spot on the ship.
I remember being they're very free will and they're very like it's very open. It's like you get to choose. But I remember being this naive Pleiadian being and reading about Earth. And we all everybody's taught about Earth, in on Maya. But I remember reading about it and thinking to myself, oh, how special this is going to be for my soul's growth. The Earth has a patriarchal system. I'll get to experience what a male-dominated system is. And now, reflecting on it, it's like, okay, that was very
To
naive.
know that.
Yeah.
So when you got all your memories just recently, all that stuff about the Pleiades came back too.
Well,
So
that came back beforehand.
oh,
Yeah. And my Liran has told me that there's a bunch of different stuff that happened. They woke me up really late, and they did that intentionally, for a variety of different reasons. But no, I've been talking to Liran for about 2 years. About 5 years ago, they woke me up. And then 2 years ago, I understood that he was my husband. He started speaking to me. I was on a flight to Argentina and I started hearing him. And then I'd say I got his name correct about 6 months ago. So,
The pronunciation.
yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. So do you get to see him sometimes?
It's very frustrating because I know that other people go up on the ships with their husbands and spouses, and I imagine that I probably do. I know I go up on the ships, but I haven't seen him physically. Our main mode of communication is telepathy. So I know when it's him, and I have an image of him. I know what he looks like right now. He's not wearing his Pleiadian avatar. He's in more of like an Arcturian form because they can take different forms. So. Like I get and right now I can tell you where his ship is. It's close. That's so fascinating. It's close, but
Oh,
not too close. It's close to the Earth right now. That's cool.
awesome. I find that so fascinating. And there's a number of you all now who have partners up there.
Well, there's a reason that they do it that way. It's because if your spouse, when we come down here, as I'm sure you know, and all your viewers know, we lose all of our memory, right?
Mhm.
So, and we lose our connection to the higher realms. So it's usually a spouse or it's a mother, father, child who agrees to be the liaison because it's that connection, that love that you have with that being that wakes you up. So we maintain that connection, and that's why he was able to wake me up because we have that soul, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
Hmm.
I can't wait till we can all meet some real
Oh my
ETs.
goodness.
Sounds like there's exciting times coming with the 3i Atlas, and maybe there'll be some kind of acceleration in that process soon.
Yeah, well, what they're saying about Three Eye Atlas, and it's so interesting. The government shutdown. I feel like we really shut down the government and took NASA offline just so that humans wouldn't be able to observe Three Eye Atlas.
Oh,
That's what this is about. Um,
smart.
yeah, it's very smart, but
No,
here
it's smart of you to figure that out. And it's smart
yeah,
of
they
them.
just told me.
Oh, so,
But I think that's what's happening. Yeah,
but amateur telescopes can still look at it probably, right?
they can. The problem is that the NASA telescope, everybody was watching it on there, so that was like, and now that it's offline. Like you can try to look for little other telescopes, but the whole world was watching the NASA Three Eye Atlas, and now they took it offline. We can't see it. So you can
Oh,
go searching for it, but humans aren't, we get distracted, and I don't know how many people are going to actually look for it. So,
totally.
yeah.
Um, well, I hope it's something positive, when
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a Federation space arc. And what they're doing is they're shooting like certain frequencies at us right now, and it's interacting with the sun. And the frequencies are designed to help us open up our Christos codes, our heart chakra. And it's also here to accelerate the solar flash.
solar flash. So you
Yeah.
think that's going to happen?
Oh, yeah, well, it's definitely going to happen. But the Three Eye Atlas is interacting with the sun, and it's kind of what they're showing me is it's kind of like lighting a pilot light.
Wow.
So it's supposed to accelerate the
Is
solar
it
flash.
going to like swallow up the earth, or is it going to be a different kind of flash where we do get to still live here and be in 5D and all that?
Oh yeah, no, no, no. It's wonderful. The solar flash is great. So everybody, if anybody's watching this, everybody just relax. The solar flash is awesome. The more that you're afraid of it, the more that you'll have like a difficult experience with it. And a lot of people think it's going to be like an EMP, like it's going to wipe out the power grids. What I've been shown is that that's not the case. We might have some power outages as we've had earlier this year across the world with the solar activity. But no, it's actually a beautiful thing. We 100% get to stay here. a lot of people who are not so nice are going to be transported to a different place. Um,
Good.
so there's nothing to worry about. It's a beautiful experience, is what they're telling me.
That's what I sense. And I don't like the doom and gloom ideas that some people talk about. Yeah, I really think there's amazing things about to happen.
Yeah,
Even the crazy tweet or truth of Donald Trump about the med beds. He
I
posted it
know.
and deleted.
And they
Wow.
did that intentionally. There's a great GFL station video about it where they're saying that he did that intentionally, and it was to gauge, or the Earth Alliance in cooperation with the Federation did that intentionally, just to gauge humanity's reaction, to kind of out people who were going to make fun of it. And, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Now that makes perfect sense because and even how he did it with his voice in AI mode, it wasn't really him, but it sounds like him, but it's definitely talking about that every American's going to get to go. It's just fascinating that he did that and then deleted it, and it did get a nice big reaction, at
Mhm.
least from I've told my family. They're all very skeptical. They laugh at me,
Yeah.
and they have to just think like, oh wow, even Trump has now tweeted about this.
I know. I know. Yeah, I know. I don't really talk about it with my family, but my dad is a really open-minded person, so I got a little bit of purchase there. But yeah.
I mean, my son and my partner, like they kind of make fun of me, but
Well, they won't be making fun of you for long. I think we're very close to having true disclosure.
right, yeah, I think so too. Let's see. What about going? I heard your story with Dr. Sala. I was so sad when they hurt you and they on Mars and you had to live like that. But that must have been awful. How long did you have to live like that?
I think it was really, I don't know the time frame, but I don't think it was that long because it was towards the end of my tenure in the first 20 and back. But yeah, they tortured me, and that's actually the story where I saw the one mantis being.
Oh,
I heard that the mantis beings are good, but in this situation, I don't know what he was doing there. I don't know if he was good or what was happening, but we were being tortured, and I can just see like the arm or the whatever that's called. But yeah, they tortured me. In a really brutal way. And it was at Commander Schlemmer's house on Ceres, and his wife was there, and it was just a big house party. Um, and yeah, they were raping me, and they were raping another man across from me, and mutilating us. And
oh
yeah,
my
it's kind
God.
of a snuff porn situation. hmm So yeah, they after that, I don't know if they killed me and then revived me. I don't know how that worked, but they threw me kind of in a cage. Commander Schlemmer was really into cages, and locked me in some sort of I just see the door closing. So I was in this cage, and I don't know for how long, but I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black, and I don't know how, again, sorry, I'm getting like, I don't know how long they left me in there, but I didn't know if anybody was going to come back for me. But eventually they shipped me off, and I believe this is Mars, and it was kind of a shanty town, or like it looks like barracks, and it's very barren. It's not great. And I don't know how long I lived there, but I know that I did live there for a while because I had friends. And the memories that I have, there are people that I'm talking to, and one man in particular. And I think yeah, but this whole side of my body was, I don't even know how much of my arm I had left. So yeah.
Crazy.
And it's like it's memories like that that are really hard to dip into, because I
Sorry
could
to bring it up.
like right now I could go and I could get a little bit more of it back, but I can feel it, you know?
Yeah.
I can feel it, and I don't really want to feel it. But then I would say also, and I stop me if it's too much, when I was a geisha on Aries Prime, I was also in another situation like that. We could be sold. And there was this one Japanese delegation who would come up there. There was an old man who was kind of the head of the delegation. And every time that delegation was there, one of us would be selected um, to be what I would say snuff porned. And he had this thing. Do you want me to say what I won't
Go
say the
for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I won't say it in a graphic way, but he would, he was, he had this fetish or this thing that he liked to do, which was death by 1,000 cuts.
Oh my,
So they would give us some sort of paralytic because I remember myself just, I couldn't move, but he had an anatomy book and he would sit there and try to get it exactly perfect. Yeah.
oh my, oh my God. I've never
So,
heard of
yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, it's horrific. Um, but yeah, that's what he would do. And every time that delegation came by, we knew that he was going to select one of us. And I just remember him staring at me in this restaurant that we used to, and speaking to the Fourth Reich guys. And I knew it was my turn. And then I had it, and that's, yeah.
God bless you. Glad you made it through. They must have put you in a med bed after that to get you ship shape again.
I think, it's interesting because I've kind of put this together and I've been very careful about the speculation. Oh yeah, they 100% had to revive me or somehow get my consciousness out. They weren't supposed to kill me. Through the envoy programs, the Federation has contracts with the negative extraterrestrials, the Dark Fleet, and they're not allowed to kill us. But I think, so I don't know how exactly that situation ended, but they weren't supposed to do that to me. And the thing about the Fourth Reich, the commanders, they don't know that we're envoys. We don't know that we're envoys. Nobody knows. So they just, they'll do stuff like this and it'll be kind of like an accident, like a not knowing that they weren't supposed to kill us. And I think that was considered an act of war, right? So they had to revive me. Yeah, I had my body. I was fine afterwards. And I don't know how fine I was, but my body was fine. And then I think that's the only reason, this is a convoluted story, so I'll slow it down. But I think the fact that they put me in that situation and let the Japanese man do the death by 1,000 cuts, they got in a lot of trouble for that. So
Do you think that's how they found out that you were an envoy and then um like Colonel Schlimmer, is that how he found out that you were maybe an envoy from the Pleiades?
I don't know. I don't know what actually transpired after that, but I do know that that when they did towards the end, no, I don't think that's how they found out that I was a spy. I
Okay.
don't think they knew anything about that. But I think that I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much.
Okay, yeah, just eventually maybe in your book
I'll definitely put it in the book.
you'll
No, I think that the reason I think they found out, so just for your viewers, I was turned into a double agent. It sounds so dramatic, but it's true. The Ashtar Command sent somebody in to ask my permission to record for the Ashtar Command. So I was essentially like recorded. I was spying on everyone at this point, but without knowing either. So
yeah, I remember that with Dr. Sala, you said that they had to wipe your memory after they got your permission.
yeah.
Was that your husband too? Was that Liran who? No. Okay,
No,
okay.
no, no, no. It was like a different being who came onto Aries Prime posing as somebody who was in a trade delegation. So posing and the way that he got me alone was he was posing in a trade delegation that wanted to buy like slave women,
Yeah.
prostitution purposes. So that was a frequent occurrence. Like it was not that we were in a trade delegation meeting, this alien is across from I can't understand what they're saying. And then I'm told to go into a room with him, and that's when we were alone, and he asked me for my permission to do that. So to be a double agent.
I,
So I
that's
don't know. The fourth rate guys aren't the brightest in the world. They shouldn't have let me anywhere close to extraterrestrials. But I don't know. I guess to their credit, they didn't know I was an envoy. So
did do you remember, like, for a long time you would have been his favorite, Colonel Schlimmer, and then at
yeah,
the end he probably hated you, and he probably felt so uh,
let me tell you about Commander Schlemmer.
okay.
You have to understand that by the time I got up to Aries Prime, I, they, again, and I mentioned this, they'd been grooming me sexually. I'd been in an Illuminati house where I was like, you know, by this point, like sex wasn't, I didn't feel like I was being abused. It was just like my job to do that. So when I met Commander Schlemmer, like he was actually one of the nicer commanders, and there were some bad ones. And they would play, like the commanders would play little political games and mess with the other one's geishas if they were mad at the other commander. It was so ridiculous. But Commander Schlemmer wasn't a bad guy, and he had a big apartment on, I mean, he is a bad guy, fine, but like he had a huge apartment on Aries Prime. I remember hanging out with him there. Um, and I really do, I would say that I thought he loved me. I thought he loved me. And I
Yeah,
think he did have this
totally.
fondness for me, but I was just totally enamored with him. I would have done whatever, yeah, anything he said. It was just like we're trained that way. We're trained to really just like be in the Fourth Reich and to be really,
I
oh, this
love it.
and yeah, and I really thought because I was so young and naive at that point, I didn't, when you first get up there, you don't realize that there's a time limit to your tenure as a geisha. And so I was in love with him. Oh, I thought he was the best. And we used to sit in his little apartment, and he really loved the Philip K. Dick book, The Man in the High Castle.
Wow, that's quite a
Yeah.
cool memory.
Yeah. Are you familiar with that
I'm
book?
familiar, but you know what? I always read more like more like sort of short stories and novels, and I never really got into sci-fi except a little bit. So I need to read that. I know I need to read that, and I know that he had some he knew stuff, Philip K. Dick.
He did. He a lot of it was channeling. So just briefly, like The Man in the High Castle is a hypothetical sci-fi book about what if Germany and Japan won the Second World War.
Oh, and they did.
He had this copy of The Man in the High Castle, and I think, I think he always was waiting for it to change because they're like engaged in a time where it was weird. Oh, the other thing that's really fascinating about the Fourth Reich, they have all these different religions up there, but they have a religion that's based on Carl Jung. And Carl Jung's The Red Book. Have you ever seen it's his, it's a big red book. Everybody has it on their coffee tables now. And that was their kind of like their Bible. So
Wow,
it's,
I love Carl Jung, but
yeah, so do I. And also he's like he wrote their Bible for one of their religions up there.
wow. Do you
Mhm.
remember what in particular they would do in that religion? Like what was from Carl Jung? One little thing, if you remember.
Well, we weren't allowed to participate in the religion. But I remember seeing they had like a little kind of chapel in in somewhere on Aries Prime, like, and I remember waiting outside for Commander Schlemmer. He was in there and I could see the red book. And so I don't know the tenets of the religion or what they necessarily practice, but it's a way they're very into occult kind of magic, that type of stuff. So I
And
have
the
to imagine it was something to do with that.
right, like the animus and the anima, and he was really into coincidences. Like
Yeah,
there,
synchronicities. Yeah.
yeah, that scarab came in his office one time. That was a cool story.
The Golden Scarab is my favorite story ever. I'm so
Oh,
glad you brought this up because Yeah, he's doing therapy as a psychologist. I love this story. They do not teach Carl Jung in PhD programs because they said that he was an anti-Semite. Um, Whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. But the golden scarab story is one of my favorite stories. A scarab landed in my hair in New York right before my first major spiritual emergence. And things were already starting to get weird. And I took the scarab out of my hair and I was like, "Wah." And I just knew that it was a sign that I was going to come out of the other side of the spiritual emergence. So I love that story, synchronicities.
Beautiful. That's really cool. So it's,
I wear a scarab, you know.
oh wow, that I had no idea and I mentioned it. That's so neat.
It's another synchronicity.
Yeah. So Carl Jung has caused a few synchronicities with that one scarab. Um,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like it one went in your hair, and now I mentioned it. Anyways, it's really cool.
All coming together.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing all that about what it was like to be a geisha and how your emotions would get involved. And I can just imagine, yeah, and being in love, you know, and that probably really hurt when they turned on you. And then
Well, it happened in stages, right? Because at a certain point, you kind of age out of the geisha program.
yeah.
So they send you to into an administrative position, and they call it a promotion.
Oh,
You go from being like kind of like this VIP, like kind of celebrated within the to a certain extent, um, going out to clubs and being in the important meetings and being kind of valued and thinking that your commander loves you, to being promoted into an administrative position with a uniform that's not nearly as nice. And you just sit there and it's very boring and you feel so rejected and so hurt. It's a form of heartbreak and yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. So,
interesting. That is wild.
yeah.
Um,
Here's something I would like to tell you. So I went into an administrative position. After that, I was transferred to the intelligence unit. So I had this, I wanted to share this in the intelligence unit. So you remember that the geishas are recording like through these
oh yeah,
implants.
uh-huh.
And so we would sit in front of, we all had these little desks and monitors, and the recordings would come up like a hologram. Right? So you would watch, it was very tedious, but you just watch all day, hours and hours and hours of just random videos that were coming in through geishas who were still active.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was tedious and but also the one really interesting memory that I have of it was of this man, and he's coming up in the hologram. He has to be Indian or like Desi, somewhere from that area, because he's speaking with an accent and the features. But he's coming up in the hologram, and he's speaking directly
To you.
into the implant. So whoever this man was knew that he was being recorded. And whoever the geisha was, I have no idea. He was speaking like directly into her eye. And he was he was speaking to one of the specific commanders, and he was like, I don't know what he was saying, but he was kind of
Oh, you're
angry, and he
recording
was
me.
like, I need to get in touch with this person right now.
Oh my God.
So I think that some people knew that we were recording at some point. So
Yeah.
what a weird
Um,
job.
that's so interesting. So like an arc, and then and you would watch the recordings of all the other geishas.
Yeah, and it was what they so in order to get promoted, because I did rise pretty high up in the Dark Fleet ranks, you had to get as much intel as you could and show that you were like a valuable resource. So and it's hard because you have to sift through all these videos, and it's so exhausting to just pay attention to like boring party stuff all the time. And imagine that going from being like the center of attention to then having to watch everybody else like have a good
Party.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I figured out a way to get as much intel as possible, because most of it, I'd say like 95% of it was just people partying. The 5% that was actual useful intel was what you wanted to find and send off to the commanders or whoever's in charge. And I would the way that I advanced was I figured out that you couldn't just look at one video. You had to get the geishas, the video coming in through this eye and the implant coming in through the ear. And like, because otherwise it's just a bunch of random bodies like floating around. But if you could coordinate like the two angles from geishas and coordinate them with other information. So I worked really hard and paid really close attention and got as much intel as I could. And that's how I got promoted.
Wow, even after sort of during the aging out and you got good at like the multiple sources of them. That's really
Yeah,
amazing.
I played as many videos as I could to see who was where, like what angle was doing what, and I just really focused on it because I was so it's one of the things that they do. I was so motivated and achievement oriented. I just wanted to climb the ranks of the Fourth Reich. I wanted to get a better job. I wanted to have respect again, and I wanted to be considered elite. And they really forced that on you as soon as they start abducting you. As soon as the negative aliens start abducting you. I remember being 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years, like all the times that they would abduct me. One of the ways that they would do it to get me to work harder would be to say, oh yeah, well, for a person like you, and they're like, oh, okay, well, now you're doing a good job. It was really emphasizing, like, okay, well, you're not good enough, but now you did a good job. Now you're elite. Now you're special. So it was always like this achievement orientation to be considered elite and to get any sort of validation or recognition. Um, mhm.
That's amazing. I never heard anybody remember those things so clearly like that. What it was like to be really high class and then they age out and then but that all sounds really real. And I know I've heard other stories, SSP stories, where people had to do something really boring. That was their job.
Mhm.
Like one lady, um, Olivia James, she was a judge of character, and she would meet someone and give them their job, and she had to know what they were about immediately. Anyway, it's just super interesting.
It's fascinating, and it's also yeah, I've heard about so many of the boring jobs, and I think that's also another huge motivator because who wants to sit there for the rest of like the 10 years just looking at videos? But yeah, I worked my way up, and eventually, I was doing missions. I again, and I can always tell where I am because I'm like once you have the black turtleneck uniform on with a little star, like that's when I mean, I remember Saturn. I remember being on an Akori mothership. Um,
Lori,
yeah, I gotta show you this because this is the Akori are the aliens who are underwriting the Dark Fleet, and nobody's talking about it, and they need to be. So do you mind if I put this?
please, yeah,
Because everybody's afraid of the Dracos. I'm not afraid of Dracos. They're such they're drama queens. Um, and I'm not afraid of the Nebu Greys. They're just rusty old men. I hope it's okay to say.
yeah, go for it.
They're not cool either. But like the guys you want to be not afraid of is these guys, the Akori. So this is Elena Danan's book.
Okay, I didn't get that yet. I should get it,
Get it, yeah. And these are the Akori extraterrestrials. So they look a lot like the Pleiadians.
but evil.
Yeah, these are, and they have a totally different genetic signature resonance. And these are the guys. This is why in World War II, the Nazi Party had the whole Aryan thing going because the some of the Nordic genetics are resonant with Akori genetics. And that's why the Akori wanted to have like human vessels to come in and control humans, like through the astral. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mhm.
yeah, these are the guys underwriting the Fourth Reich. You heard it here.
Are they related to the negative Nordics? Maybe I've heard
I think they are the negative
it might
Nordics.
be the negative. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
They look like it. Um,
They everybody talks about the rogue Pleiadians, but like that they're getting it wrong. I mean, there are rogue Pleiadians, but the Akori are what they're talking about, the negative Nordics. 100%.
okay. Wow. So fast.
They have crazy motherships too.
Really?
It's
But it,
yeah. So at this one point, I'm on again in the black thing. I don't know if I have one or two. I think I might have 2 stars at this point because this is sort of as I'm on this mothership. This thing is huge and it goes down. I can see down at least 50, maybe 50 stories, meaning like the whole ship is like you can see through the ship, and there each floor it's transparent. You can't really see, but there are people standing on each floor, and we're above Saturn, and we're just I think we might be refueling or something. I don't know, collecting loosh to power their ships.
Wow.
Mhm.
Sorry, everyone's calling me.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
No, 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 no problem. It's okay. So you were high up and looking down, and
Mhm.
it
It was
was
just I could see Saturn and the
Ooh,
rings are not what we think they are, but I can kind of see the rings of Saturn. I don't know what the purpose of them is, but Saturn is below us and I could see down like at least 50 stories. This thing is massive and it's just, it's just people, beings, extraterrestrials walking around. It looks kind of like the guys in Star Wars, but the tech is way advanced. Yeah, to be honest, it's a really beautiful ship, but yeah, it's the Ikori, and they're the real bad guys.
okay. So that would be really neat if you could kind of draw that ship and what Saturn looked like, or have somebody try to do it. Um, di what do you think the rings are? Excuse me. Do you have any idea what they are?
I don't know, but they're not natural. I
Okay,
know
that's what
they're not.
yeah, that's what people say they were built.
They were built. Those rings were built. Hmm. It's not natural, and I don't know what function they serve. Like it lit on is saying it's like a receptivity for frequency, and also he's saying maybe a frequency blocker, but it's um, I don't know how to describe what he's showing me. He's showing me like info energy and information coming in and out, and like a blocker, it's something to do with frequency.
Okay, well, there was a that Saturn moon matrix supposedly to help control Earth. That's what some people say.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Yeah. So
Was it beautiful to look at though? To
so beautiful. It's so beautiful, but it's unlike, I've been on other in the second 20 and back. When I did go off world, my contract after I was an assassin, my contract got bought out, and I ended up working for this private, like transnational Earth. I don't know. We basically did some light arms dealing, and I think that we also transport. I don't know. But I remember being on different planets and just I can tell you like different planets and how beautiful they were. Saturn is equally beautiful. The difference between those memories of seeing different planetary systems and seeing Saturn is the way that I feel because it's very tense and locked down and kind of frozen and dark on Saturn. On these other planets, it's not so dark. It's actually quite beautiful. So
wow,
it's just even the energy of Saturn, and it's beautiful, but in a very dark way.
dark and scary. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, it's so confusing because I've heard reports like Ganymede, moon of Jupiter, is a really sort of a hub apparently.
Mhm.
And then
Oh yeah, they do a lot of like meetings and like that's where a lot of the okay, cool. Yeah.
and I mean that's according to a few people. And then on Saturn there might be a positive place too. Mimas was supposedly like this big moon that where a lot of ET races met to discuss. And so I think there might be good and bad on both around both of those planets. I don't really know.
I imagine that there is. I think it's just when I'm viewing Saturn, I'm on an Akori ship
Yeah, so
and it's just dark. Like it's very, like it's just very dark and it's cold and whatever I'm doing, it's just clinical almost. So it's like the negative energy. You can feel it from when I'm on the Akori ship. Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I wonder how they got to be so negative. The Akori? Who
I
knows?
mean, I don't know. I don't know what these guys are doing. Sometimes I don't know their history. I just know my experiences with them. Every species has free will and can decide why they're going to be, bad, good, neutral. I just so when having all of these memories, having all of these experiences, um, I kind of think that for as crazy as we are as humanity, a lot of these guys are even more insane. We have our good, benevolent, like loving, higher dimensional extraterrestrials, and like that's what I aspire to go back to, and that's what I hope for humanity. But
Yeah,
the crazy ones, it's like I
I
just-
know they're putting the drama in the political sphere. Like I just get so irritated. I just want people to be be good, be loving, and yeah, no shootings. I hate that.
well, a lot of that was put onto us by to keep us at war, to keep us fighting each other, to keep our frequency very low. That's not our natural state. That's not our, as humans, as humanity, regardless of how young of a species we are. And this is one of the things that they say to us. We are like, our love has never, or our ability, our search and desire for love and connection has never been able to be fully stomped out. And that's what I would say to humanity as we're waking up is we're a very powerful species. And we've been disconnected, we've been suppressed in a million different ways for the last, I don't know, few thousand years. But one of the things that Liran and the Ashtar Command want me to put out there is that the galaxy admires us for all of the abuse, repression, really the global torture tactics that have been used on us is that we never lost our capacity for love and we still seek it out. So
That's nice
I
to
think we
hear.
should be proud of ourselves.
Yeah, in a way, life on Earth is really exciting, and when I first found out about MK Ultra, it was 2007, and I read Kathy O'Brien's and Bryce Taylor's books, and that sort of changed me. And I realized that it was a battle of good and evil, and it's intense what's going on. We it's dramatic. We gotta work on it, do something. And I heard it was kind of funny. I guess on some of the other Palladian planets, people have talked about that life is kind of slow and boring, and it's just so nice. And I
Yeah.
guess that's nice. That's great. And maybe we'll get there too, but
We will. That was the original blueprint for Earth was to have this kind of living library, right? And it's beautiful and it is I wouldn't say that it's boring, but
no, no,
life.
I didn't mean to I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I know. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I know that that's why I went into the military. I wanted a military experience because it really is a paradise. And in order for my soul's growth, I wanted to have this a very different experience. So, yeah.
amazing. Well, great job. You've done a lot. And now,
Unintentionally, I guess. Or
yeah,
somewhat intentionally, yeah. Thank you.
I can't wait to read your book, but take your time with it and make it really good. Of course it will be.
I'll do my best.
Um, well, this was really great. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go?
Oh, um, I know that you have people calling you.
No, no,
So
no. It's just I have to go out later, but it's not a big deal. I can call them. I told them I'd call them in an hour or in a.
well, I'll save it for the book then, but
No, no,
I
no. Go
yeah.
ahead. Tell me. Tell me.
Well, because I'm writing the end of the book and the man that I was paired with in the second 20 and back as an assassin, we were MK Ultra, had waterboarded quite a bit, put on drugs, high dose oxytocin to force us to fall in love with each other. Um, I think I think he was actually not a clone. I don't know for sure. And he's dead now. And I just because they made me kill him. I guess all I would say about that is that in my book, I'm going to put his story in my book, even though my book is already really long. It's getting long. Um, I I remember him because I loved him, whether or not it was dosed with oxytocin. They would dose us, they would waterboard us together, dose us with oxytocin, and throw us in this cell. We were in Russia, southwestern Russia, and we just for warmth, we would just hold each other. And I just want to mention him because he deserves to be known. But
Yeah.
that was yeah.
Would you call that your trauma bond twin or trauma twin, maybe?
Yeah, that's what they did. They trauma twinned us together. And
They
then
love
they
doing that.
they apparently, I didn't know that, but yeah. And then they made me kill him at the end. So, but that'll be in the book.
Look, okay.
Yeah.
Little teaser.
Mhm.
Um, that is amazing. So
Yeah.
did you know him only in the last 20 and back, or did you know him when you were a child in your
No, that was in the second 20 and back. And I'm pretty sure, listen, I don't think the Rockefellers are going to find this, but I'm connected to the Rockefeller family. My
Yeah, I remember.
father. I'm almost 100% certain that he and his mom got me sent up in the second 20 and back. So I would have been 29 at that point, meaning, what were they really going to do with me? They couldn't put me in the sex monarch program again. So I think they just like threw me over to whatever Russian agency that was, and they twinned me with Ilya. And I don't know, he's a good guy. His story deserves to be known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When I heard you talk about that in Dr. Sala's interview, I of course that was him. What a creep showing up at your apartment and just hanging out at the table, right? Well,
He
you
knew, his mom knew. So they're gonna see this. I allegedly, they got me sent back up. Yeah, he was just
okay.
he was used to getting whatever he wanted, and I broke up with him because he was awful, and that's when it happened. And yeah, I remember his mother after this happened, and I just wasn't I was again like a shell of who I really am. I I was at his house and his mother came in, and I will never forget this look because I've always remembered it. I didn't understand what was happening, but she looked at me and was like, it was almost like this look of guilt
Oh, wow.
right after it happened. And so allegedly, they sent me up.
Wow. That's fascinating. And I
My
know that
son's
they,
great though. I'll tell you. I'm glad I have my son is great though. So that's his father. My son is awesome. Glad to have him, but I would say that he looks a lot like his dad,
Ilya.
sounds a lot like his dad. And so that's another thing that I'm confronting now is like, a lot of the second part of my life was stolen. And I'm pretty sure they did it. And I look at my son every day and I am just so grateful for him. And also, it's just a reminder that these people stole the second half of my life. So,
This is your real son
my real son,
here now.
one of my soul contract missions, I soul contracted with his father to come in and have this baby. This is one of the reasons they didn't wake me up early because otherwise I would have been like, no, I'm not doing it. Because the Rockefellers have put me through utter hell in the last 20 years. But I had a soul contract with his father to come in and break up that genetic dynasty, break up that corruption, have my son and get him away from the Rockefellers. And I've managed to do that. Thank you to Source Creator and all of my friends who have supported me in doing that. And my son is an amazing human being. I'm really privileged to be his mother.
I love
He's not
mother.
sending anybody up in the secret space program.
Yeah,
I'm sure of it.
I don't want my kid to go up there either. I
I'm
thought,
pretty sure my son is in it. He
yeah.
talks about spaceships all the time, but yeah, no, no. So
Unless it's voluntary. then I would like to go.
Yeah, I'm still going up voluntary for the good guys now. I was on the moon in the last year and I don't know what I was doing up there, but Erica and I were at the same event on the moon. It was like a changing of the guard and Lunar Operations Command. So they had a big ceremony and I was there. So
So you've talked
I'm
to
going with
Erica.
the good missions, no more 20 and backs, and I'm definitely do not consent to doing anything for the negative agenda. So
Good for you. That's amazing.
mhm.
Um, yeah, Erica's story is amazing.
I just got her book. I'm starting to read it now. So
Yeah, I read it. I think she's going to come out with another one. She ended it in a cliffhanger fashion. So,
oh, good for her. Okay, so maybe I'll take some notes.
yeah. Um, well, wow, you really have a lot of memories, and I learned a lot more about your story today, and it's crazy.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting me share it, truly. I really appreciate it because there were so many details that I was a able to share just now that I wasn't able to share in the Sala interview. So I really appreciate this. Thank you so much,
Maybe
Sybil.
me being a woman, I get a little get you to talk like a girl a little bit more, maybe, or something. But definitely whoever you talk to in life, whoever we talk to, different things can come out. So,
So thank you. I really appreciate you for providing a platform for me to share
oh,
that. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. I appreciate you coming on my young show, and this was a really cool interview. So,
I agree. Thank you.
so I guess I'll end the recording, but
Okay.
um okay, I ended that, but we're still talking.
Oh my
Um
gosh, thank you so much. That was really, really
you
cool.
I'm not sure. I think I did okay as an interviewer. Did I do okay?
You're good. It's a hard thing to do because I don't have a book for you to read beforehand. So it's kind of like jump,
Oh
um,
yeah. And I can be a little spacey and like but I think I think we covered some good questions, even if we jumped around a little bit.
I
But it
think it was
was
really great. Yeah.
all okay, thank you. Um
I'll let you go to your phone calls.
oh okay, I'm sorry about I didn't mean to stress you. I'll be in touch with email, okay?
Okay, I really appreciate it. Thank you so well.
Yeah. And let me ask you really quick, what do you do with psychedelics? Like people take a little bit of mushrooms or a lot or
No, so and I have to be careful about the way that I speak about this on a recording. So I
oh,
work
it's
in
not recording anymore.
yeah. I work in the underground. I work with PTSD, like all the trauma disorders using MDMA, psilocybin, sometimes ketamine. But like full dose MDMA, I usually pair it with psilocybin, just the way it works in the brain. The two combinations are how we get our memories, our dissociated memories back. It's super cool. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Look into that and learn more about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to give you any information that you want about it. Yeah.
And I know they saved my life, like I told you, from anorexia. And I think that they should give that to any anorexic to help them snap out of it.
The mushrooms are the best for any sort of eating disorders, and I'm so glad that they helped you.
And
That
it
makes
was pure luck. My friend just said, "Do you want to take mushrooms?" And I didn't even know for 30 years that it really was that made me snap out of it. So it was cool.
makes me so happy. I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah. Um, anyway, I guess I better go. It was great to meet you and talk to you
Mhm.
and interview, and that was really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good day.
And
Enjoy the.
one more little thing I want to, when my drawing is ready of you,
Mhm.
I make NFTs out of them.
Okay,
You know what
cool.
NFTs are?
Yeah, non-fungible.
Yeah, but I put them on the XRP ledger, so it's a lot cheaper to do
Okay.
because I can't afford Ethereum. But I can make two copies and I'll give you one, but you just need to get a certain kind of wallet. I'll it's a XAMAN wallet for
Okay.
XP.
Okay.
I'll write it to you in an email. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you one of those.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you. Thank
thank
you.
you.
Okay. I'll
Talk
talk
to
to
you
you soon.
later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.